What's up, everybody? It's your boy Keefy with another GhostColdMan.com live stream Friday night in the world. I hope everybody's good wherever you're at. I think we're coming on live everywhere else. Alrighty. I am Mike 138 is here. I love 138. That's my favorite Misfit song. El Numero Uno is here. One of my favorite screen names of all time. So, popping in with a quick live stream on Friday night. We've been experimenting with more live streams and a live stream every day this week. Feel free to join the conversation. The best experience for this show is YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. We're also hanging out on TikTok if y'all want to hang out and chat. Cult Icon is here, or Culticon. Again, not sure how to pronounce your name. Let us know in the comments. So, I had an idea today, just in case you're brand new here, and you might be. Ghost Cult since 2012 is your everyday 24/7, 365 rock and metal news resource. Metal news, concert and festival reviews, interviews with cool bands, the whole 9 yards, the whole shebang-a-bang. Why are we here today? There was a really Lukey Poo the Third is also here. Lukey Poo, that's great. Why are we here today? There was a story that jogged some feelings in my head about the biggest band of all time, Metallica. It's been a crazy week of rock and metal news and such, and we've been trying to have topical conversations on these live streams. Tell me what you would like to hear us talk about in the comments as well. But yeah, we're here doing the thing one more time before the weekend's out, and maybe we'll be back on a few more times this weekend. But we got a lot going on. So why are we here? There was a story today about Metallica, about congratulations. Bader is here, Angie is here, Pizzap is here, 13 Bats is here. Why are we here today? We're talking about Metallica. There was news today from Polestar. Only industry people and nerds know what Polestar is. It's basically a data brand. They put together data on the touring and recording industry, stats and things for nerds. And very self-congratulatory. Well, thanks. Very self-congratulatory for themselves. And but Metallica ended up on the list of the top 10 grossing tours in the whole world, which made me think, boy, they didn't really tour that much this year. Probably less than ever, or nearly less, considering this is still an album cycle for them. They continue to tour behind M72, which I just happen to have my copy right here. Came out in April, a year and a half ago in 2023, and they've been touring behind it ever since. Tonight is their last show of the year in Los Angeles at the All Within My Hands charity auction and concert. Dub MC is here. Faisal E is here. What up? Zach Edwards Foe is here. I don't do co-hosts, pal. This is my show. And I don't play music, so don't request any, because I'm not trying to get demonetized. We're streaming all over the place. Monkey Man 69 is back. Moonchild 0973 is here. Good to see y'all, though. Kathy Riley is here. So Metallica, they ended up on this list of the top 10 grossing tours of the year. And I don't care that much about money, but I'm interested in the band, right? I love Metallica. I want them to be around for as long as possible. But earlier in the week, and a week ago, we had this whole news came very rapid fire about Nico McBrain retiring from Metallica. And we were discussing just ongoing discussions about Iron Maiden and what happens. I've said over and over again, what happens to the biggest bands in the world when they retire, and who is left to take their place? Fans don't seem too thrilled with the choices who are left. Even though I think it's rad that System of a Down is selling out stadiums, they're only doing it's still only 6 shows. They're not going to go do 50 of these. They're only going to do 6 of these. And I think they will probably not fully sell out the second 2, but maybe they will. Again, they haven't toured that much. Am I a Ronaldo fan? Monkey Man 69, I'm not that big of a soccer fan. I'm a huge American football and baseball and hockey fan. Basketball continues to let me down, but I respect y'all if you like soccer. Wayne Bitskit is here. But anyway, I had this thought in my mind, like, Metallica seems to be slowing down. I'm not rooting for them to go away. I'm not saying they're ending soon, but maybe we're seeing the end game now, and I'm going to discuss why. So let's talk about this thing that jarred me. Here's the guys. Hello. Good to see you. Good photos there. That's Tim Saracenti, who directed some of their videos in the last couple of years, took some press photos of them. That's one of them. I don't own that photo. Here's their show tonight. Sold out in the LA area, the Helping Hands concert and auction benefiting their All Within My Hands charity foundation at the YouTube Theater. I believe that's in good old Englewood at SoFi Stadium. I've been there once before. I saw Devo there. It was phenomenal. Not a Rams fan, but not too shabby. Not too mad at it. And yeah. Let's see. But yeah, this story kind of grabbed at me. So Polestar did this year. They do a year-end report of all this data, and they ranked the top 200 tours in the world. Not a lot of rock and metal, as you would imagine. Obviously, you know, Taylor Swift and Coldplay apparently set a record for the most average ticket price, tickets sold, gross, like both broke previous records. But still, you know, so, you know, like Taylor Swift, I think, made $1 billion of profit on that Everest tour for the last year and a half or whatever. And Coldplay somehow is number 2. I really have no idea that they're even this popular. Bruce is here, Bassman is here, Ray Smith is here, Danica is here, Angel is here. If you're new here, especially on TikTok, give us a follow. If you love rock and metal, we will follow you back. Everybody else, I know everybody else, I kind of recognize you. Kieran Scott, what up? MD King, Paul Quinn, what up? So Fred Rome is here. Hey, Fred Rome. So Metallica made the list. They're at number 9 out of 10. Strangely, they have the cheapest ticket price of any band on here. And I think, again, that's Taylor Swift tickets are, you know, a lot of factors go in Ticketmaster and the dynamic pricing. I think we were seeing that the prices for System of a Down and those related shows is like astronomical. And even Pearl Jam, that has always tried to have cheap ticket prices, has been their fans are complaining about the prices of their tickets. They're not in the fight anymore against Ticketmaster, I guess. And we saw even before the pandemic that Metallica was kind of implicated along with all the biggest bands in the world, that they usually have somebody embedded, a Ticketmaster person, either in their organization or at Ticketmaster, that kind of works with them to, you know, price some tickets at the highest levels. And it's business. It's a business, right? Why would you keep doing this if it wasn't a little bit about the money? But okay. The top 10 grossing worldwide top touring artists: Taylor Swift, Coldplay, Pink, Luis Miguel, Bruce Springsteen on, you know, basically what amounts to his never-ending farewell tour. Rolling Stones absolutely on their farewell final couple of tours. Gianca's here. Brian 313 is here. Bad Bunny, Zach Bryan, Metallica number 9, and Madonna at number 10, rounding out the list. But somehow, again, Metallica has the cheapest ticket price, which is interesting because Metallica tickets are, I'd say, if you get them right when they go on sale, they're pretty decently priced. Obviously, the floor and the pit is always going to cost more money. But you know, obviously, like nosebleed seats aren't that bad. And that also, you know, I don't think this includes festivals they played. So they ranked this based on 24 headline shows that Metallica did, but I think that doesn't count an additional. Tonight is their 29th show of the year if you count festival appearances and stuff. Hi, Angela. How are you? So yeah, just absolutely curious about this. And this has got me thinking, like, how few shows Metallica has played this year. Even compared to last year, it's less than half the amount of shows that they played last year. They have played 75 shows since M72 has come out. 72 seasons. So since the M72 tour has come out. John W. Baylor is here. Super Cat 74 is here. Ice Earth Forever 1979. 1979. Sorry. That's good to see you. So this just made me think, like, how much longer does Metallica have? We have, in addition to these podcasts that I do, these live streams, and our weekly live stream news show that we did last night, that'll pop up on the podcast later, I have another podcast, the Glacial Musical Podcast, and my host, I'm the co-host, and the host, Nick Cameron, has said, like, there is no Metallica farewell retirement tour. This is it now. The last few years of it is now. Maybe we get one more record if they're feeling good about it. They seem to be very rejuvenated by making that record. Other than S&M 2, they really had not made a new record in all these years, except since Hardwired, which I also have behind me, 2016's Hardwired, which sounds good and is excellent. And I listened to it again recently, and I was like, man, this record is really excellent and holds up. I think 72 Seasons is maybe even a little better. But they seem like James seems energized. Lars seems good. Sunseeker's here. What up? What up? So this news. Oh yeah, I mean Metallica's a little bit younger. But Maiden has toured much more than Metallica these last couple of years. Queen Vice is here. So again, it just had me thinking, like, what is the end game? How many more years are we going to get of Metallica, and how much more Metallica? And so I started looking. Okay, this is just based. This is an ugly slide, but it's just based on. If you're looking at the slide, sorry TikTok, but I'll read it off for you. Just a snippet of their touring history. The most tour, I thought the Metallica at one point had done like 300 tour dates in 1 year, but the most they ever did was for the beginning of the Black Album, 91 to 93. They did 222 dates, which is actually less than I thought. That's over like a year and a half. But that's a lot of dates in a year and a half, in let's say 500 days to play 222 with travel and holidays. And they're not they were getting huge, right? The Black Album made them superstars, but they weren't as big as they are now, obviously. So I looked at the last few years. So right before the pandemic, let's say, again, Hardwired to Self-Destruct tour, 2016 to 2019, 159 tour dates from September 27th, 2016 to August 25th, 2019. Then we had, going back in time a little bit, the period before that, they did 187 tour dates for the World Magnetic Tour for Death Magnetic, 2008 to 2010. That's quite a number of tours. They were obviously a lot younger 10 years earlier, but also they didn't tour that much during the teens, it turns out. They have years where they didn't tour a whole lot. I'm not, kind of looking back on it now, they did maybe a summer festivals or a U.S. tour of arenas. And they didn't do that many big gigs, and they hadn't played any American festivals, and they had Orion Fest here and there in that 2010, 2011 to 2016, but there were a lot of thin years in there where they didn't tour. Then we had the plague, the Pandemic Lovato, and, they hadn't toured a lot during that time. I went to the Metallica's first show back. Actually, I was really lucky. It was on my birthday in 2021, and I saw them at the Independent here in San Francisco. It holds 500 people, and I was one of the lucky 500. I got the set list. It was a phenomenal night. I could have been right up at the front of the stage, but I was a little freaked out being back at only like my second show back ever, or third show back ever. I think Ex Mortis was my very first show back after the plague, and I saw them at DNA Lounge upstairs, which was tiny and packed, and I was like, okay, this is crazy. John W. Baylor says, I think Metallica has 2 or 3 CDs. I assume you mean albums if they do it right. I think that's probably optimistic, but maybe. Again, they did, like, no one knew 72 Seasons was coming. They recorded it, obviously during the pandemic. They started writing it and working on it. They recorded remotely and a little bit in person, but not much in person. James moved away from the Bay Area and has a studio in his home. Lars has a studio in his home. Kurt splits his time, I think, between the Bay Area and Hawaii, and has studios in his homes. Trujillo lives still in Southern California near Venice Beach, or in Venice Beach still. So they recorded kind of separately and then came together and, put it together with their guy, Greg Fettleman. But so 21 and 22, they did 38 shows. I saw Metallica like 8 times in since 2021. It's crazy, which is the band I had seen the most before this was Slayer, and then Slayer retired, and I missed them seeing them this year. I hope to see them next year. And then so Metallica comes back and they play 38 shows, 21 to 22. And then they release 72 Seasons. Now they've played 75 shows, 76 tonight, since 72 Seasons came out. And 29 this year. So again, that's less than half. That they did, they did quite a lot last year, and they added a bunch of things. They did the John and Marcia Zazula tribute show where they didn't play any songs after 1984. That's insane. They popped in and did things that was kind of fun. They added the Helping Hand show. This is the 3rd annual one, so that's been a new thing for them. Again, the friendly Men 95's here again. Thank you for coming back. Appreciate you, the friendly men. Michelle Mara is here. So yeah, just fascinating to me. They are, they played 29 shows this year. Tonight's the 29th show. It's about to start in LA. I'm sure there'll be some fan film footage. Maybe we'll throw it up online overnight. And so, getting back to me, they do feel good. They seem good. James seems in a good place. I know he had that moment like a year ago where he was on stage and he felt kind of vulnerable, like bad, like maybe he's not good enough anymore. And, you know, we all have weak moments. I think Lars has actually been playing better than he has in his whole life lately, obviously, other than when he was a younger man and obviously the peak of his creativeness, let's say, and Justice for All when he was one of the best drummers in the world, and the Blackout when he was still pretty good. And then I think he went through a long period where it wasn't, it was just important to him to show up and play well, but not to necessarily be the greatest. And I think now he's actually been one of the most consistent and best parts of the band. I saw them 3 times last year. I didn't see them at all this year. I saw them 3 times last year, and they were sensational. Each time they were excellent. Really no weak moments. Maybe Kirk is the one that's kind of struggled sometimes, and but like again, age and playing these songs a million times. Metallica has done 1,600 shows in their career, over 1,600 shows, and 36 the first year and a half. Even a local young band barely plays 36 shows. So that was a lot of shows, even when they first had it. I think Metallica should get a new producer, not the one that Five Finger Death Punch uses. Yeah, I mean, like Fiddleman's their in-house guy. I do think this is the trap they keep falling into. They made too many albums with Bob Rock. They made too many records with Rick Rubin. They kind of took Fiddleman from Rubin. He was an apprentice of his, an engineer for him. Now he's their guy. It's kind of like a sports guy. If you make a certain amount of money, you make the most millions of dollars in the world, what can a coach really tell you and school you on? You're not going to listen. You're rich. You don't need him. You feel very independent and maybe can't be told things. This is a problem with all veteran bands. They don't know, like some things are not good. Throw this out. What can you tell them? What will they listen to? What advice will they take from you when you're an employee and you're not a guy they have the equal respect, maybe the equal relationship? That's just a theory I have. That's not based on anything I know about Metallica, but that's just what my sense is. They should go to Morrisound. I don't know that Morrisound is updated enough to make brand new records, but it'd be interesting to pull, like they don't like to go out of their comfort zone. That's the problem. By the way, we'll talk about next year for them, what next year will at least hold. We know they'll be around for one more year, 100%, because they have a lot of stuff on the plate. But they got to the point where when they go play festivals, even all over the world that are not their thing, they now make the festivals use their stage and their sound and their lights because they don't want to trust anyone else's stuff to do their show. I saw Metallica do one bad show, and I mean, bad by their standards is still better than everybody else. But I saw Metallica do one, kind of one show, and it was at Bottle Rock Napa, and they were awesome. The set list was awesome, and the sound was ass. And it was because they used Bottle Rock sound, and you could see they were struggling. There was like a delay. And like what you hear on stage, what you hear as a fan in the audience is not always exactly what they hear on stage. Metallica does not play to a click, but they do have inner ear monitors. James definitely does. And I think Lars does too. They don't use a click, but sometimes there's an echo or a delay. And like they were clearly frustrated. My homie Pags was with me, Ghost Cultist Pags, and he and I were there, and we had done some interviews that day, and he was like, what the fuck is wrong with them? Why are they playing so weakly and badly? And it was like you could tell they couldn't hear themselves. They sounded unsure. If you've ever played on stage outdoors, that it's difficult. Fish Boy is back. What up, Fish Boy? We saw you yesterday or the day before. Thanks for being here. But I think they're feeling good. I think they're doing good. Concrete is back. What up? What up? I feel like they're feeling good. Maybe, playing less is keeping them interested and excited about it and rejuvenated. I think the 2 nights thing has been great for them, especially James and Lars. And, I think that's a plus. So let's talk about like what's on tap. They just finished this, literally 76 shows. Tonight's the 76th show in a year and a half. And only less than half of that is what they did in 2024. So again, maybe they're babying themselves after years of 1,600 plus shows in 43 years. Maybe it's just catching up to them as a band. They get old guys, 60 years old, except for Rob. And so Metallica, the business has been Metallica, the business, has been, exceeding everything. Sepsis has a question. Thanks for being here on Facebook, Sepsis, the band. What are some reasons you think a band plays bad? Well, I played in bands for 20 years. I was a musical kid. I went to music school. I went to the famous High School of Performing Arts. If you ever saw the movie or the television show Fame, I had bands for a long time, rock and heavy metal and hardcore bands. I recorded some music. I released some music. I have one song on Bandcamp if you really want to hear it, but it's not great. And, of course, Metal John. Thanks, bro. Great to see you. Thanks for being here on the Tick of the Talk. Also, appreciate the support. We'll support you back. So I was going to say, just to answer this question really quick, what makes a band play? You can have an off night. You can be feeling sick. I saw a really cool interview with Maynard James Keenan of Tool where he talks about his routine for the day of a show is he can't even eat a whole meal. Either he has to eat at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon because he needs like 8 hours to digest his meal and do his singing preparations and his warm-ups and then go on stage and not feel gross. It's like full of food and feel blocked as a singer and nervous that he's going to chuck or something. So he has to either eat at like 1 o'clock and then not until after the show, 11, 12, right? Come off stage, wipe yourself off, take a shower. Fine Shammy popped in. What up, Fine Shammy? Fine Shammy Records. A Fine Shammy production, always a good time. My homie. And so just talking about Metallica and too much money to be made. That's probably the reason that it's not going to be over. We're about to talk about how much money they make. But what makes... You can comment on this, Fine Shammy. You're like me, a connoisseur of music and a music expert. You've seen a ton of shows. What makes a band play bad? You have an off night. You don't feel good. Drama with your life and your personal life. Look at what happened to Jane's Addiction. Everything was riding on this reunion. Dave Navarro literally has been home with long COVID for 2 years, afraid to come on tour, sick off and on. They recorded a whole new album, basically, that will never get played live now because those guys are fucked. Dizziness Black Metal is here. What up? So Jube World is here, and JR504 is also joined. So I just think like a lot of factors, sepsis goes into making a bad show. I definitely had my share of bad shows. I think it was definitely a period of time when I was fucked up on the booze and the drugs in my 20s, and I used to go on stage with a bottle of vodka and no water. And I was a hairy, long hair, fat ass, unhealthy, worse than now. John, what up, bro? How are you doing? John Harder, my friend, an actual real life friend also, in addition to some other real life friends that are on the stream. How you doing, pal? Good to see you. Missed seeing you. Hopefully I'll get to see you again soon. I'm probably coming to your town in early January for some pet sitting when I'll be back in Fairfield, California. But I think a lot of factors go into making a bad show. I've had my share. I've had my share where I thought I was going to do bad and I did well. And I had my share of shows where I was confident and I didn't do as well. I also came up in the era of playing in bars in New York City and the tri-state area in New York. And I used to, like, people smoked in the bar and club. And I also always smoked weed, but not cigarettes. But it affected my voice. And then I was kind of like a rock heavy metal singer, not such a growler. And so, like, a lot of smoke in the room. It was cool, looked cool, felt right for me, for my youth. But like, it was a lot hard. It was hard, man. It was hard to do shows like that all the time. But yeah, we were talking. Cruz is back. What up, Cruz? So talking about the Metallica money train, right? The box of money that rolls up to their house every day. What's all the things Metallica did this year to make money beside this incredible amount of touring that landed them in the top 10 of all the one of my best friends lives in Fairfield. I lived in Fairfield when I first moved to California and then down here to San Francisco for the last 3 years. I liked it there. It wasn't the worst, but I liked it. I lived near the downtown by the reservoir, and I liked it a lot. One of my favorite record stores is there. One of my favorite comic book shop in the world is there, Waterfront Comics, as well as Retroactive Records, now with a new, relatively recent new owner. But in addition to touring, that makes Metallica the most of their money. And we were figuring it out. If you just count the 24 shows that Polestar counted, they technically are playing their 29th show tonight if you count other things that are not a headline tour date. Metallica makes, not counting the charity show that will go to their foundation and a festival which just pays them a flat fee, they make about $7 million gross per show. And I'm guessing there's about $2 million of staff, transportation, and production that go into every show, maybe even more, but they make like $5 million a show. So people that were like upset about Sick New World, like, oh my God, they had to pay Linkin Park and Metallica $5 million. Well, that's what they make, bro. And broettes and they and thems. That's what Metallica makes. They make a lot of money. They make a lot of money every show. This is big business. The biggest bands in the world, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Foo Fighters, looks like they're going on a long break. AC/DC coming back for 13 shows. The big superstars, they make millions and millions per night when it's all said and done. But what did Metallica do this year? They did Fortnite, the big Fortnite integration. They released a brand new pinball machine, a remix of their old pinball machine with Stern Pinball. I think these things go for $80,000 a piece. I love me some pinball and I love video games. I don't have $80,000 for a Metallica pinball game, but apparently people do somehow. What else did Metallica do this year for money? They do a lot of charity stuff. So they've been doing a lot of charity stuff, which on one hand, it's great to see them with piles of money do charitable works, but it's also a good tax write-off. So the Metallica marching band thing had their second year this year where they donate money and scholarships and instruments to colleges, high schools, and, civic associations. I think it's really rad. I do like the All Within My Hands charity auction. They always have cool stuff. They've been doing some stuff for themselves. I don't think this necessarily makes money, but just good branding. They did the Orion series on their Black Box, which if you're not familiar with it, the Metallica Black Box is their online museum, basically, their history museum, where they have archival videos and interviews and cool stuff. And they did a whole tribute to Cliff recently. I'm sure they roll out a new thing like every 4 months. I don't think obviously, like every single opportunity is a thing, a website, a social media thing to maybe sell stuff. But I think like it's just good brand awareness. Metallica, by the way, still sells on top of all their other records. Like I said, I pulled out my Preciouses. I have them 72 Seasons right here. And I had Hardwired right here, which I feel like really still holds up. And I would kind of hope that when they come back again, they will, except for this album cover that doesn't hold up. But the music holds up, and I would like to kind of see them play more stuff from that. But Metallica still sells 6,000 albums physical of the Black Album, or the equivalent of physical, every week. 6,000 Black Albums. Somehow people are still buying this thing. I don't even know how. I love the Black Album, but like, I don't even understand how. They probably make triple that in merch per show. Well, yeah, I think it's probably a couple of million in merch, technically. And then they have to print up enough merch. Metallica has their own merch printing, and they have their own record plant now. And they have, they run this business to, like, it's really a precision machine. So good for them. But like I said, they've been doing a lot this year. So what about next year? We know Sick New World got canceled, and it's not, I'm going to ascertain, I don't think it's their fault. Someone else asked me, like, why did the same company that also puts on Shaky Knees, Bonnaroo, Lollapalooza, they put on Sick New World. I think think of every festival as a business, and think of every business just like with the same business concerns. Everyone else has loans and, accounts payable versus accounts receivable. And I think Sick New World was in debt for the first 2 years because they went all out for that first few lineups. And I do think they raised the prices this year. It was a different kind of lineup. They had sold most of the tickets, actually. Like some rumors are going around, they hadn't sold the tickets, but that's not true. They actually had sold more than half the tickets. They just hadn't sold out immediately like the first 2 years because of System and Slipknot and Deftones and Korn and such. So I don't blame Metallica for Sick New World going under. And if they don't come back, they don't come back. That same agency added a brand new festival in Maryland yesterday called Boardwalk Rock Fest, and I did a video on that as well, or Wednesday, which means I probably think Def Leppard and Motley Crue are both going to come back with a big tour again next year. No one wants Motley Crue back, but all right, Def Leppard's fun live. So this year, we know that Metallica has about the same amount of shows already booked, assuming they don't add anything else, and I think they're probably going to add Aftershock. But we know they're doing Sonic Temple. Sick New World is canceled. They're doing probably some other shows that haven't been announced yet. We know they announced this guy here. I'll blow this up again. So they're doing, I'll go back for a second. They're doing Sonic Temple, which they're doing a 2-night thing at Sonic Temple. Their tour kicks off technically still in April, and Sonic Temple is early May. And they're going to play 2 nights, so it's a 2-set list set, which they like. Keeps them excited and fresh. Then they're going to do, this is the rest of their dates. That also includes Sonic Temple is on this. and Vegas is now not on this, but this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 shows in America minimum, and I think they're going to add Aftershock probably, and maybe one more thing, maybe Louder Than Life too. Why not? And again, all within my hands again in another year. No reason not to keep doing it. It keeps doing well. I do love like Pantera and Suicidal Tendencies for the one night shows, and then the second night of the 2-night shows. So Limp Bizkit, I would like to see again, but you know, yeah, the touring is the thing that's making the most money, Cruz. That's what I'm here to talk about. So Dead Alive Metal is here. James White is here. I'm concerned that this is the last few years of Metallica, but they're making more money. Like weirdly, they're working less and making much more money than they ever have before, which is insane. Just absolutely mind-blowing. Most bands don't operate this way. And I don't think System of a Down could do 30 shows. They would break up before they got to 10. I really don't think they're going to do that many more of these. And we know that they've booked for the end of next year, which leaves a big gap all summer and in the fall. But late in the year next year, they're doing Australia and Auckland, New Zealand. So no Tasmanian concerts. I guess it's too small. Or if you live in Tasmania and you want to see Metallica, I guess you got to come over to New Zealand. But Evanescence and Suicidal and Metallica. What a little bit of a strange bill, but cool for Evanescence to get those shows. They're cool. Amy Lee is cool. I'd like to interview her. Here, I don't know why I'm reading these. Let's go back to the comments. Am I sober? Do I still drink? Sepsis, I am sober. I drink on occasion. I have high blood pressure, pretty high diabetes, pretty not great diabetes. It's better now than it was earlier in the year. And my cholesterol is real bad. So I can have a beer or two. I can have an adult drink here and there. My other podcast is still beer, metal, and swearing. I do occasionally have a beer, but I just can't party like I used to. I have to chill. I like to. Believe me, there are days when I want to fucking get blitzed, but I just can't anymore. Triple in the merch. Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible. And, you know, they sell their own stuff constantly online. They stream a phenomenal amount of streaming. I actually had their streaming saved, and I didn't put it in this deck. And I don't really want to stop to look for it. I did pull down... I know Spotify's evil. I did pull down a few raps from different bands. Maybe I'll do an episode of that over the weekend and talk about our Wrapped for our podcast as well as band raps and the whole nine on. Yeah, touring is the thing that they do the most and especially well. This is what they do well. They are great at touring and making money off touring. So next year we know they have a full year of touring, but then what? I actually thought they were going to take off next year to relax and write a new record. You know, Trujillo has other musical projects he can do. Infectious Groove started to come back the last couple of years. Kirk has his wedding band. James is doing some acting. I could see him doing a solo record when Metallica's done, like a solo James Hetfield country rock record or something. You know, but like what happens after 2025 with Metallica? If you have a prediction, I would love to hear your predictions. Yeah, I know it's unmanageable, but like I said this the other night, and I said this last weekend about Nico McBrain and Ozzy being too sick to really go perform. We saw him at the Hall of Fame. He's frail. He can't. I don't want to see Ozzy sing from a chair. I don't think that's good for him. Or you know, Anthony Finari is here. Kevin Watt is here. Seanzilla 77's here. The Dancing True is here. Thanks for being here. I don't want to see these guys die on stage. Lemmy didn't want to stop touring, and he was so sick that last tour, and no one knew. Maybe he knew, but no one else knew. So I don't really want to. John Concannon is here. I don't want to see them like slink to the finish line and be sick. I want to see them rule until they stop. And I'll be sad when they're gone. I was sad when Slayer was gone, and they had. You know, you could tell they weren't getting along. Tom had health issues, his neck injuries and stuff like that, and just tired of being on the road. And now they're back for occasional shows, but you're not going to see Slayer do a whole headline tour, like 30 dates. I don't think so. Even if the money is astronomical, I don't think they want to. I know that was a whole weird thing with Kerry King and his solo band getting announced right at the same time as the Slayer thing. But yeah, we are seeing, I think we're going to start to see guys in bands like check their mortality and be like, I'd rather go out and spend time with my kids and count what money I have and not be sick on the road or break down. You know, I talk all the time about Alex Van Halen. Commander Good is here. Jose Castro is here. Betty L. Graves is also here. Red Dog Dad 89 is here. PP Zaz 675 is also here. I think, I think about Lemmy a lot. And I'm still not okay. And it's coming up on his birthday and the anniversary of his passing. It's just brutal for me. I'm so sad. We just did the live stream about Dimebag. So, I just don't want to see these guys perish. And I think some of them are going to start saying, hey, I'd rather, thank you, John. I'm proud of you too, pal. I appreciate you. When I saw you last, you look great. I'm proud of you too. It does get easier. I think it's really hard to walk away. Full Beat Rockers here. Gary B is here. These are people I see all my everydayers. Dow Clay, thank you for being here. I think we're coming to a period of time where a whole generation of artists are going to start slowing down and retiring, and some bands are going to have a hard choice. I think when Nico had the stroke, Steve Harris had said publicly, like, if any member of Maiden dies, we're just going to stop. So I think this wasn't I know some people took it really hard. I think took it really hard. John Harder says, I think Metallica will continue like the Stones, 20 to 30 shows a year forever. That would be nice, but I don't think so. I think we might get I think the max would be 5 years. The max would be 5 years. I can't see Lars being able to do this at 70. It's not the Rolling Stones where you could plug in a drummer and Lars is Metallica along with James. I could see 5 years, maybe one more new album. Obviously, a live album from this era is obviously going to happen. Would be fun to get their vinyl club back rolling. I really enjoyed that. If you listen to the Glacial Musical podcast, we unboxed and reviewed all of those vinyls from that year. It would be really cool. Still waiting for a load reload box set, and they promised they might redo Binge and Purge. It passed the 30th anniversary of that already. Metallica's got anniversaries coming up, right? So I don't know. I'd love, John, for them to continue for a long time, but I just don't know. I think somebody asked me if I thought Slipknot could go 10 more years. 10 more years? Corey's been having mental health problems and canceling solo tours, and Clown with his personal issues with his family, and those guys in general not getting along. I think Jim Root today was like, if we don't release this Lost album thing we've been sitting on, I'm going to just leak it. He's getting mad because it's money that they're not getting. Granted, they make quite a bit of money, but see you in Metallica June 3rd. Noah, awesome, bro. I'm going to hope to catch Metallica again at least a few more times. That's my goal. I meant to go get them this year, but I couldn't make any of these shows. And I saw them 8 times since 2021, including the tiny show on my birthday when they came back after 2,000 days or something. So, because they had been on kind of a hiatus before the pandemic because James went into rehab after S&M too. So I really want to see him again. I've rather enjoyed those 3 shows in 2023. And as long as they stay about that consistent, it'd be cool. Cruz says, I doubt they could go past 5 years still playing. It'd be crazy if they did. I feel you. I don't know if people really even appreciate this. I know Lars gets a lot of shit from everybody. Lars changed his entire life just to be able to play right now in Metallica. The years of him drinking and Alcoholica and staying up all night and probably groupies. He is like a dad now with adult children who have an awesome band, type Hey Houston. And, he actually, to be able to do the M72 tour, he gave up drinking. He said he had a sip of champagne at New Year's 2024, and he was like, ugh, gross. He became a vegan. He works out every day. He warms up for a whole day just to be able to play for 2 hours. At whatever level that is. I understand that there are drummers his age that are superior to him. Yes, Charlie Benante, who also has had some hand issues, or Gene Hoglan is almost the same age as Lars, and he's incredible. I get it. There are some drummers who are, Tom Hunting, who beat cancer. There are a lot of drummers out there who are better than Lars, yes. But I'm saying, he's rich. He doesn't need to keep working this hard because he loves Metallica that much, and he doesn't want to suck, no matter what people say about him. I did make a joke about, if Lars Ulrich joined Iron Maiden, what would it sound like? And I did, the pingy snare drum, and I sang Run to the Hills. It was pretty funny. I did that for laughs. Noah jumps back in and says, James and Rob are energetic and don't know about Lars and Kirk. I think Kirk is Kirk is doing like, I think Kirk is less concerned about being exactly precise like the albums anymore. He's not trying to be the best guitarist in the world. I think he goes out, he's enjoying himself. He's playing with a lot of feel and flow and emotion, and he's not concerned so much about every note being perfect. It's very similar to Zakk Wylde. So, I think Kirk is solid, and I think he's having a good time. He's in great shape. Guy looks incredible. He's like reversing, except for his grays. He's reversing, and maybe some of his wrinkles from the sun from surfing. But Rob's a beast. I'm sure if Metallica stopped tomorrow, Rob could go be in somebody else's band. Chris Hornbrook, what up? What up? What up? What up? Good to see you. So, yeah, I don't want them to go away. I want that to be clear. I agree that this title is a little clickbaity. I don't typically do that, but like I said, we're experimenting with these live streams. If we jump on every day and the conversation's lively, I'll keep it going. And, but yeah, this is a topic. It's been a frequent topic. Who becomes the biggest bands in the world when Metallica, Maiden, and Slipknot and Priest are all gone? I think System of a Down can maybe get a few years. The money is so good. I think that Serge does not want to do System of a Down. He's said it openly. But obviously the money is ridiculous for them, so they have to keep doing a few shows here and there. But I think he would prefer to just walk away and not do it anymore. I highly recommend reading his book. He said in his book, I do not plan to be doing this band forever, and I will not do a huge headline tour ever again. It will not happen. Maybe a small tour, a run of dates, a few festivals, a few shows of our own. Crew says a lot of musicians improvise and usually don't follow the album precisely. Anyway, that is true. And you don't realize, like, if you play, hey, Cholo, if you play, Chris Hornbrook was just here from Census Fail and Poison the Well, and he could tell you, I mean, guy's a machine. I played the same music over and over for years in different bands. And like the song you wrote in your bedroom and you perfected in the studio and you cut on tracks on a record, you go play it live like 100 times, you don't play it the same anymore because you're rocking out or you're like looking over at that guy, you do the kiss thing, or whatever, you see somebody in the crowd, hey, what's up? Get my number later, Noah says, I'm the vocalist and rhythm guitarist for the band Prejudice. Nice, you haven't released anything to try and figure out how to mix stuff because I can't afford it. I get you. Yeah. I think, for a starter band, you can make a demo or your first records in your bedroom. The University of YouTube can teach you everything you need to know. Skillshare is $19 a month, by the way, if you want to learn some skills about the music studio. And then I would try to start with local shows. Play once in a while, because also if you play too much in your hometown, your friends are not going to want to come out every time. And then if you can muster up, connect with bands from other cities or connect for the next town over and play like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and still make it home and have enough for gas money, that's an achievement. I was a tri-state local famous in the year 2000, 2001, 2004. As long as you possibly can, because it's your passion. That's awesome, Noah. Stay passionate, stay thirsty, stay hungry. And as long as this makes money, as long as they're having a good time, Metallica will continue. I just don't think they're going to continue forever. I think we're going to start seeing bands slow down. You're seeing health problems pop up in Overkill, Armored Saint. Guys will need surgeries or taking time off the road, and other guys are having to be like, hey, we need a backup drummer. Can somebody come in and spell us? I mean, if Lars missed a show, they could live. They've shown that before, where if he missed a show, they could do it without him. I know Elisa from Arch Enemy was in Mexico last weekend, and she was so sick she couldn't get out of the hospital bed. And the band just went out and played instrumentally, and the crowd sang the songs, which is a testament to the endurance and enduring love of Arch Enemy, especially their last 20 years of music. But 25 years of music. But if Lars couldn't do a whole tour, I don't think they would just tour. I think they wouldn't go on tour without him for a whole tour. I think if you had to miss a few shows, or if any of them had to miss a few shows, I have a dream of opening for Metallica, although it's possible being 17. Yeah, I mean, it's just because you're young and they're not going to be around. But maybe someone else, maybe Knock Loose someday will be the Metallica of their generation, and you can open for Knock Loose, or Spirit Box. Don't lose your dreams. It's important. I got to open for a few big bands in my time. Testament, SOD, Doro, who rules, and actually remembered me like 15 years later when I interviewed her for the first time. I could do my Doro impersonation if you really wanted, but maybe too young a crowd. But Yeah, I mean, I know Jeff personally. I live in the Bay Area, and yes, he's had some bad health issues. You will see Possess. I think you will see Possess next year. They're working on a new record, and Jeff went on this big tour with Testament and Creator, and his leg was broken, literally, like just broke apart. He was shot in the '90s. He's been paralyzed ever since, and he's had a tough go. But he's a good dude. We're buds. I see him around. He's one of the nicest, friendliest people out there. And he's always very, you can see our interview with Jeff on the channel here. If you go back to, I think it was Ozfest 2018 or 2017, and we hung out, and he was great. And he's stayed cool ever since. Diligent Compounds popped in. We're going to keep this conversation going as long as people want it to, but I will call it shortly. But officially Bade is here. Dakota Patton has been here. So yeah, just it'll be just interesting to see what happens, how long these old bands in metal can keep going. Obviously, we saw Ozzy just become too frail. I know Sharon is trying to get a farewell show together for him in England, in Birmingham, 2 shows. I'd rather him not. I'd rather him just. I know it hurts him personally. Loves performing. He looks so weak at the Hall of Fame. He looks so frail. He could barely talk. I was like, man, I don't want to see him rolled out just to. I know he wants it, but like sometimes you got to just say, I can't. I have done that myself in my life. Sometimes you just can't. You can't eat that extra plate of food. You can't go to that girl's house. You can't mosh the mosh pit one more time. We all face our mortality. Sometimes you got to say, like, I got to chill. John, yes, we know John Allen is a piece of shit. That sucks. I met him in like 1999, and he was mad nice. And I did interview Sadis earlier this year, the guitar player, and their new record is really good. And it's a shame when one guy fucks up and it fucks up your whole band. Annabelle from Hell is here. Hello, Annabelle from Hell. Good to see you back. That's a whole separate thing for a separate time. I really hate, unfortunately, I hate finding out band dudes are the worst or people's politics are horrible. Not anyone who disagrees with me is fine. My politics don't mean you need to agree with me, but someone who's just like horrible, I can't support. Noah says his first Megadeth was your first ever concert and he didn't like it, but they sound better on record. Well, Dave doesn't quite, Dave has had many health problems. I remember seeing the Big Four at Yankee Stadium in 2011 with my best friend Curtis and about 35, 40 other New Yorkers that I knew and other people from out of town. And Dave had a neck surgery like a few days before, and he came out there and he couldn't move and he could barely sing. And he did his best and he was good. Dave on a bad day is better than most guitar players in the world, but he clearly from the cancer and just the age, he's also 60 years old, 60, 61. He's just slowing down. He's just not, except for Bruce Dickinson and Rob Halford and a few other people who sounds as good now as they did when they were in their 20s. Very few people. It's really hard. It's really hard. But yeah, I hear you. It's just not, but that's fine. I saw Megadeth last year in 2023, and I like the shit. I think that maybe the thing with Megadeth is, I think the thing with Megadeth is maybe they keep doing co-headline tours, and I think like 10, 11, 12 songs is the max. And I'm spoiled because I remember seeing Megadeth play for like an hour and a half. An hour and a half, or like like maybe even a 2-hour show a couple of times. I feel like a band like Anthrax, a band like Overkill, a band like Flotsam and Jetsam, I know it's tiring. I know it's exhausting. These guys are getting older and older. I think I kind of want a long show from them. Like Machine Head kind of showed us the way. They're almost the same age as some of these other bands, a little younger. And like maybe they can do a 2-hour show. Some bands can play 2-3 hours and some can't. You got to have the stamina. Your friend tries to argue with it. Mustaine is a better singing voice than Hetfield. Oh no. No one thinks that. Even I know that there are Megadeth fans that fucking hate Metallica, right? There was like a period of time you could not be a fan of both bands. I think that's dumb. But like, I'm sure there's people out there right now that's like, fuck Animal Corpse, 6 Feet Under only. And it's like, bro, nobody ever. I love Mustaine. I really do. I've defended him for a long time to a lot of people. There's no chance that he's a better singer than James Hetfield is one of the best singers. He became an exceptional singer. He's literally been copied almost more than any other singer in modern music. That's a rock and metal singer. That isn't a Cookie Monster Yeah, of course. Oh, well, Dillinger knows that John Dillinger Compound says when you look at Dave Mustaine and then you see John Bush, who's run out of steam and still has a full tank. Well, yeah, I mean, again, also it's a lot harder to play guitar and sing. I played bass and sang in a band. Let me tell you, it's difficult. It's really difficult. But yeah, I mean, John Bush is one of the greatest singers ever. And I interviewed him earlier this year for Category 7, who just canceled the headline tour, sadly, because the money wasn't there. The tickets weren't selling. I think Category 7 is awesome as they are as a collection of dudes, and the veteran status that they have. They still need to kind of go open for an Anthrax or go open for a Pantera or a Metallica. Would be cool if they took them out. Hetfield said he liked the Category 7. He heard he loves Bush, and he loves those guys. But like you saw a guy like Phil Demo, beside the beef in Machine Head anyway, he was looking to kind of step back and not tour as much, because he's got a big family and a business at home here in the Bay Area. So with his wife, Marta, from Bleeding Through. And so they have business interests and stuff, and he just can't tour all the time. Even Testament, Chuck Billy has multiple businesses, music and otherwise, where he doesn't want to be on the road. One of these guys want to be on the road 100 dates a year out of 300. There's other things to do, family and health and things. But yeah, I mean, Bush was always like one of the best singers ever, man. No, it says, for me, it's easy with my own riffs, but other songs more difficult. For sure. If you have another person in the band that can trade off with you, and you could play like the complicated stuff and then sing over the easier parts. That's the way I used to write in my band. Again, they have one song that's online. It's not great, but if you want to hear it, I'll share it. But it's not fantastic. It's pretty funny, actually, though. I shared it today with somebody else who had never heard it. They were like, I love this. And I was like, I don't know. I was in my 20s. It's literally like over half of my life since then. I progressed. But I think if I was starting a band now, I would make much different music. Joey Belladonna, powerful as ever. Well, I would say, so power is a thing, right? Hitting the notes as a singer, let's just say as a true singer and not like a growler. To hit the notes that you used to hit when you were younger, it's possible. I didn't interview Joey. I interviewed John, and we talked a lot about singing. And I interviewed a really great singer, in my opinion, is Christopher Hall of the industrial metal band Stabbing Westward. Chris had like a 5-octave range in the 90s and 2000s, and he smoked cigarettes that entire time. And then he had worked to get his range back to where it was when he was like 20, and he's 50 something, and he can hit all the high notes again. So they added back in their set list all these other songs that like have incredibly high parts, and they put out a record in 2019 that sounds exactly like their 90s stuff. It was their comeback record, their first album in a long time, like 16 years or 15 years. And in terms of Joey, I think Joey's still got a great voice. He's kept his instrument great, and he's been fantastic since he came back to Anthrax. And I think it's interesting, like Axl, right? People talk about Axl. I think Axl doesn't have the power he used to have. He has a lot of stamina to perform. I think, honestly, I wouldn't be mad if Axl just kind of did a Halford and just stood there. I know he's got the teleprompter sometimes. I don't need Axl to run back and forth for 3 hours. I'm okay if he just kind of prowls the stage a little bit and doesn't run back and forth the whole night and change his shirt every song because he sweats through it. I think he can still hit the notes. I've seen GNR twice since 2016, and I'm looking forward to seeing this next tour when they finally announce US dates. And I think Axl can still hit all the notes, including the falsetto stuff. I just don't think he has the power behind it anymore, if that makes sense to you. I know quite a bit about singing. I was a classically trained singer. I went to music school. I sang several high-profile gigs. I sang about 1,500 gigs as a lead singer in a band and maybe another 100 as a backup dude. I had a hardcore band that was like Suicidal and Madball. I had a thrash and heavy metal band that was like your Metallica Queensryche with a little bit of other stuff in it. And I also had a Pink Floyd tribute band where I had to sing like David Gilmour and Roger Waters and Rick Wright every other song. So it was really hard. So I know a bit about singing. I know a bit about playing. I was an okayest bass player. It's difficult to play some of that Pink Floyd stuff on the bass. Noah says it was harder when you were the lead and you told your guitarist you couldn't do it and we switched and immediately clicked. Nice, man. It's all about the process and learning. You're 17. You got everything in front of you. You have the whole history of music to draw from. This is one of the best times ever in music, even though I fucking don't like Spotify. Everything ever is available to you. If you want to spend a day and be like, I want to just listen to the blues today, you could just listen to the blues today. If you want to listen to jazz, every great record is out there for you to grab and go listen to and incorporate. If you want to listen to the best thrash metal ever, it's at your fingertips. I don't know if you guys remember the documentary from about 15 years ago, Get Thrashed by Rick Ernst. He was the former one of the producers of Headbangers Ball. He was definitely the cameraman for some of it, and he did this documentary, Get Thrashed, which has like one of my favorite quotes ever about Mustaine, where Mustaine is being interviewed about being like, you know, who he is. And he's like, when I die and go to heaven and I'm on my cloud playing like a harp, I wish I could look down and see everybody that I ever influenced and feel proud. And I was like, you know, I'm okay with that. It's a conceited fucking thing to say, but I don't disagree. And then Carrie was interviewed, and everybody kind of introduced, you know, James Hetfield, Downey, California, Metallica. And then they get to, you know, Kirk Hammett, you know, Dublin, California, lead guitar, Metallica. You know, Charlie Benante, drums, Anthrax, and SOD, the Bronx, New York, which is where I'm from originally. And then they get to Kerry King. Heller Charles Dorado is also here. And they get to Kerry King, and he's like, I don't have to tell you who I am. You know who I am just by looking at me. It's like, bro. I love Kerry, and I really love the Kerry King solo record, but it's like, be less douchey, guy. We do know who you are. Be more humble, man. Be a little more humble, bro. Be a little more humble. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people, like maybe Dave Lombardo can still play as good as he did when he wrote the drums to Angel of Death and Raining Blood, but you know, he's got 40 years since then, almost 40 years since those records came out. Crew's got a dip. Bye, dude. Thanks again, Beat, for being here. Appreciate you. And I like the Slayer icon there in your profile. Appreciate you. I'm gonna record now, but you're tight on money, can't afford the studio time. Friendship, Soundtrap, and recording thing online for free. I don't know if I should use it. Let me give you some advice. I used to do teaching and training to bands on how to make it, mostly music marketing, but I have, again, a lot of experience. I worked in and around the music industry for almost 20 years. And before that, I had bands and made records and did this and this. Today, I know you as a young person, you feel like an urgency. I want to get it out there. I want to get something. Slow it down. You have a lot of time in front of you. A year from now, the music you think is awesome now that you wrote, you're going to listen to in a year and be like, that sucks. I can do way better. So I always tell people, oh, you know, I spent like $5,000 making my record. Well, what money do you have to pay to promote it? Do you have money for social media ads? Do you have money for flyers? Do you have money for PR? No, I don't have any of that. Well, go back to, don't release it. Go back to work. Save up a few more months of money and have a similar amount to market it. I'm not saying this is necessarily a one-to-one example, but in the movie industry, so Craven the Hunter came out tonight, right? And it's getting like bad reviews. I heard already from a friend it's pretty good, actually, maybe even better than Venom. And so a friend of mine, I think one of my lights went out. A friend of mine said it was good, but like, so a movie like Craven the Hunter costs $200 million to make, right? Or $150 million to make. And then they spend another $100 million on ads. Now it's social media ads. Used to be newspapers and promotions with Burger King for a cup with Craven on it, and AMC integration for the popcorn bucket and all this other stuff. It's not exactly the same in music, but it's similar. So like, you need a certain amount of money to make a record. You have a certain amount of money to promote the record. You don't want to do one without the other. Also, unless you really learn to become a studio whiz by yourself, which is awesome if you do, it's better to pay a professional because it's going to come out sounding good. A lot of people don't understand that mixing and mastering you can record by yourself very cheaply at home, and then you need to pay a professional person to mix and master so it sounds good on your Bandcamp, your Amp Wall, which is the new competitor to Bandcamp, on Spotify. You need these things. I used to give it, you know, run seminars, and I will bring back some free social media videos this year, 2025. We'll do some new content and some new how to get your band off the ground stuff from Professor Keefy, because there's a Professor Keefy in here also. But just wait. Make sure your songs are great, and not just great to you. Play them for friends. Play them in the car. Drive around your city and listen to them in the car. Just the demos before you go record anything, and then maybe make a song. Record one song. Don't worry about an EP or an album. I know everybody's ambitious. They want to do all the things. Just chill. Just chill. You can just take your time. No need to rush, you know? Noah, I wish you the best, man. Um, I was you once. I was young and hungry and excited about music, and I still am. Um, being in a band is a young person's game. It's very expensive. It's a very expensive hobby. If you want to do it for life in your career because you love music, that's great. I would never talk you out of doing that, but it's really hard. And you got to really strengthen yourself and steel yourself for what's to come because it's a challenge. It's very challenging to do music for a career. It's very challenging. I tried for a long time. It was really hard, and I'm proud of everything I did do, and I don't have that many regrets, which is cool. When I was 15, I thought I would be on the back of a tour bus opening for Metallica and Anthrax and Megadeth and Slayer. That didn't happen, but yeah, man, that's the way to start. SoundCloud is a good tool to just kind of put up some ideas and share them with people you trust. Share them with people you trust. And yeah, SoundCloud's fun. There's so many tools. There's so much free stuff out there. I wish I even had just MySpace. When I had my bands going, there was no social media. We just barely had email and websites. My band was like the first band in our scene to go. I showed up to shows with a clipboard and asked people for their address and their phone number and if they had an email. And we started emailing people flyers. And we started putting flyers in the mail. I can't tell you in my mid-90s office job, how much postage and shit how much postage and envelopes and papers, like the machine's on a toner again? Yeah, I don't know what happened. Where's all the colored paper? I have no idea. I used it for all my flyers. Why do we need post? I used to go to the post office to refill the postage meter. Now you can do it online with a Wi-Fi thing. But my boss was like, why are we spending so much money? I was like, well, we sent out all those invoices last week, right? Maybe it was dishonest, but I was into guerrilla marketing. We used to go to when Metallica played the hockey arena in New Jersey, we would go to the show if we were not going to the show as a fan, and we would just go to the show and put a flyer under everybody's windshield wiper. 20,000. Now maybe we did 5,000, but we were like, oh, look for everybody with a New York plate and put a flyer under their thing, and maybe they'll find out about us. John Harder says, and Keefy got farther than 90% of musicians. That's very kind of you. I don't know. Again, I don't have any regrets. You promised your parents you'd make it, and I don't want to break their promise. I love that, man. That's great. I love that. My mom, my dad wasn't around much. I really got to doing more music after my dad passed away when I was a teenager. But my mom, who I had for another 10 years, was a huge supporter of mine. And she would give me money to go to shows, and she bought me my first bass and amp that I later got signed by Metallica. That's a fun story. I can link that here in the video after it's over for YouTube. That bass is autographed now by Metallica with Jason Newsted, which was a whole other fun story that I did. Maybe I'll bring back that series I did during the pandemic when everybody was live streaming, and I did this series called War Stories with Keefy, where I gave Keefy's true rock and roll stories, both from playing, performing, seeing bands, all these things. And some of them have come back into play because we've had a bunch of anniversaries in the world. And I got to meet Metallica and shake their hands and meet them. I never forgot it. Jason was the coolest. James wasn't in a good mood that day, and I had a whole beef with him. It was sad, but he still signed my bass, but he was really shitty. If you got a lot of people have parents that don't support them. So if you have a parents that are encouraging you and supportive of you and want to help you make it, that's amazing. Talk to me, pass by. What up, Josh Toomey? I'm a big fan. That's a whole thing. I like to get on Talk to Me or have Josh come on my show and talk to him about music journalism because I feel like that shit's going out the window. People are not really journalists anymore. They're more entertainers than anything else, which is sad. Your mom says she's taking you to the Metallica show June 3rd, getting floor tickets. Oh, that's so cool. She'll do everything in her power to get you up there. Oh, that's fun. Never know. You never know. Put up paint, get a marker and a cardboard and put up a sign. And be like, please let me come on stage and play with you. Practice all your Metallica riffs. You never know. You never know, man. You never know. You see the British drummer and multi-instrumentalist Nandi Bushell? She's got started as a little kid doing YouTube videos or whatever. And now she's doing drum-off videos with Chad Smith and Dave Grohl. So anything is possible. The whole world is open to you when you're young. When you get older, believe me, I was in a rush to grow up. Don't rush to grow up. This is the best time of your life. Be a young kid. Enjoy it while you can. And play music as much as you can and keep it pure for yourself. And bands are hard because you're dealing with other people. You have to have the same goals. Creeping Death. That's my favorite Metallica song, Creeping Death. It's always been my favorite. I do it still sometimes at karaoke. I'm thinking of revising I have like a second channel that's kind of my channel, and I have some older interviews there from other outlets that I was on before I was at Ghost Cult, so 15 years ago, because Ghost Cult's around for 12, and I have some other fun things there. And I think what I might do is repurpose that channel and put some karaoke jams up there of me performing, or some future music that I might be doing in the future with my buddy Abe. So maybe that's a place where that stuff can live. Yeah, I mean, number one, it's the same thing. I will tell you this, like, having a music website is not any different than when I had a band. You are literally in a competition against everybody else, and you have to do it for more than money. You have to do it for more than props. It's nice to get at, like, there's a personality trait where people want applause. I was a musical kid. I was a performing kid. I was an actor. I did a lot of things, theater. And like I said, like, there was a period of time where you could live on that positive feeling from applause. Like, there's nothing like a whole room of people singing your song back to you. That was a great feeling. I used to have that feeling where people knew my words and sang them to me, sang with me. But more than anything else, don't worry about impressing everybody else. Play for yourself. Do it for yourself. And don't worry about, like, listen, if you get on stage with Metallica, that's not your only shot at music. Your shot at music is what you do every single day. Repetition, perfect things, not to be perfect, but work on, there's the 10,000 hour rule. Malcolm Gladwell, right? Outliers did this book about, like, what does it take for greatness? How do you get to be great? You got to be consistent. You got to work hard. You got to work harder than everybody else. You got to try. Even if you had an advantage, even if you had money, even if you have supportive family, even if you have a cool group of people who have the same goals as you, and they all have pro gear, and you're all learning at the same pace, and you all make good, cool stuff together, it's a lot of hard work, and you have to keep working. And the reward for good work is more work. When you get to a certain thing, oh man, I played my local, VFW hall, or, kids activity room, and we put on a show, and 100 people came, and it was rad, and we played some covers, and they thought we were cool. Now you got to do something else next time, bigger. So practice your craft, learn to be good, believe in yourself, and don't worry about so much like everybody else's respect yet. That'll come in time. It will come, but that'll come in time. Typically when I had my bands, people were either like super into it or not into it at all. And what I wanted to do was play in front of people who were not my friends, because I wanted to know what it truly felt like for people to really, what are they feeling it or not? And there was definitely some hostile crowds. We were the kind of band where we didn't really have like 2 or 3 songs that sounded alike. We used to like jump from thing to thing. Definitely not a trend thing. So that's awesome. That's good. That's good to know. Not a trendy thing, but just kind of like we were so talented. I'm not going to brag, but we were talented enough where we could do different styles of music. So it's important to kind of come up with a style, because honestly, people don't vibe. Like right now, like a band like Ginger might have had a harder time 15 years ago. A band like I Wrestled the Bear Once, which is where Spirit Box kind of came from, paved the way for a Ginger, or what's Lena Scissorhands band? Now I'm going to forget. But anyway, sorry. I interviewed her too. But yeah, like Infected Rain. Now I just remembered. God damn it. Getting old. And I need dinner. But yeah, that's cool. That's cool. It's cool. It's good to get encouragement. But like a band like Ginger would have had a harder time 20 years ago because they were all over the place. As talented as they were, like now it's cool. Can you do different styles? System did that a little bit. Can you do different things? So, but I recommend trying to like really focus on being able to do a style of music, because like it's weird, especially Americans. We're just not cultured enough I mean, music is global, but as Americans, we're just not like people are just their tastes are not broad enough. To be really honest with you, Europeans have better taste in music. They're more, oh, that's interesting, jazz and metal, cool, do that. Imperial Triumphant, black metal and jazz, amazing. And these guys are like some of the best musicians in the whole world. Also, you know, Royce Wall Jr. is here. What up, Royce? Swimming Circle is back. What's up, Swimming Circle? I like seeing the everydayers. I like seeing the repeat offenders. Thank you for continuing to support us, everybody. You could spend an hour and 10 minutes watching anybody else, and you're here with me on a Friday night. I'm going to go in a couple of minutes. Create a new genre, grunge and thrash metal. Cool, cool, cool. Thrunge. Why not? Why not? Why not? You got bluegrass and thrash. Why not grunge and thrash? Why the hell not? But just believe in yourself, Noah. Try hard, and it'll probably work out for you, pal. Keep us posted. We'll pay attention to you. When you get your band, if you come up with a cool band name, get your social media accounts together and squat them all, even if you're not ready to post on anything on them yet. Just get the handles. And I'm going to give, like I said, there's going to be a series of videos probably in 2025, probably not January, but probably February. We'll roll out some new content where I give some free advice to help bands make it. Because that's what I care about. I am only doing this because I want to see bands make it. I can post about 9 Inch Nails and System of a Down and Metallica all day long, but it's the underground bands that I care about. Your band name is Prejudice. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool. All right. On that note, y'all have been amazing. I really appreciate this time with you. We will probably be back tomorrow with another video. I'm going to go get some food and do some other work. But thank you for being here. Again, if you're new here and you managed to stay this long, we are at ghostcultmag.com. Check out our website. Follow us on our socials, wherever you're at. We're there too. And support us, and we'll support you back. We try. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Noah. Much appreciated, and best of luck with your band and your guitar playing. Appreciate you. And everybody else, my everydayers and new people too, thanks for being here. If you just came by and you don't like what you saw, the computer has other buttons like click to the next thing. But most people seem to dig us, and I appreciate it. I'm Keefy from Ghost Cult. We'll see you soon. Peace.